welcome to something to talk about.
Hi, welcome to Something to Talk About. My name is Taco, and I'm here to talk about one of them locations for you. And you know which one it is because you clicked it. But yeah, we're talking about Qohor. I'm headed over to the Essos for the first time. I'm really excited. I don't know why Qohor. It was either this or Norvos, and that I wanted to talk about right away. But I don't know, something about the Black Philip goat god, the death god, kind of got me for Qohor. So Norvos is back burner. It's going to be way later now. I can't talk about them too close. All right, cool. If you don't know what's going on here, pause this, read this. Definitely spoilers for the books in the show. And yeah, my name's Taco. I do all this in one take, and I just rock out the topic. And the topic is Qohor, the city in Sothorios. One in Sothorios, no, Essos. All right, free cities. So let's just get going. Here's the map. This is where it is. Like I said, it's pretty close to Norvos. But yeah, Qohor, also known as the City of Sorcerers, is the easternmost of the 9 free cities located in western Essos. It is not the westernmost city in Essos. There's plenty more west. But when it comes to the 9 free cities, this is still considered one of them, right? So like, you know, out of these guys right here, right? Yeah. So the free cities, also called the 9 free cities, are a group of 9 independent city-states in western Essos, located in the west of the Dothraki Sea and in the Painted Mountains, and northwest of the Valyrian Peninsula. Many in the free cities consider themselves more sophisticated than Westerosi, even considering the people of the 7 kingdoms to be savages. I mean, it's not completely wrong. There's a lot of pretty horrible savages in the 7 kingdoms. The 9 city-states composing of the free cities lie across the narrow sea, east of Westeros and the western side of Essos. The eastern continent, Essos, the western, my God. Essos, the eastern continent. I don't know why I gave a pause there, and then I just started butchering it all up like meat. All right. Braavos, Lorath, Lys, and Tyrosh are located on islands. Mir, Pentos, and Volantis are located on the coast, and Norvos and Qohor lie inland. There are significant differences between the geography of the various cities, from the thick forest around Qohor, which we're going to talk about, and the rolling hills around Norvos, to the tiny islands of Braavos. To the east of the free cities lies the Dothraki Sea, and to the south of Slaver's Bay, north of the free cities is the Shivering Sea and the Isles of Ibn. So there you guys go. All right. Apparently, I'm a little jumbled. Time to get it together. All right, let's keep going here. Should be too long. Located in the forest, the city stands on the banks of the river Qhoyne. Are we going to go with Qhoyne, a tributary of the Rhoyne, on the western edge of Forest of Qohor. It is seen as a gateway to the east. Qohor is surrounded by strong stone walls. Northwest of Qohor is Norvos, and Volantis is to the south. The Qohorik rule the Qhoyne, north of the ruins of Rhoyne and the eastern bank of the Darkwash, which is another river, I believe. Although the river's western bank is within the domains of Norvos. So then we're just going to talk about the forest. The Forest of Qohor is a large forest containing Qohor, right? So let's look at it again. So we're right on this river. So I'm assuming the river that Qohor is right next to is that Qhoyne, if you will. And then the forest is completely surrounding all of it around that, right? So that's what's going on. So that's the forest here. So the dark primordial forest is the greatest wood on the continent. The forest stretches north all the way to the Shivering Sea, with the Axe to the northwest. That's like a cool peninsula to the north. And south to the swamps of Selhor. Selhoro. The Darkwash is to the west of the forest, well, Vase, Dor, oh my god, these Essos names, is to the east along the Valyrian Road. The vast forest can take roughly 2 weeks to cross by horse. The forest trees are large with trunks as wide as city gates, and the leaves, which give a golden hue when exposed to the sunlight, making a golden canopy above travelers. Animals found within the wood include great elk like deer, spotted tigers, wolves, tree cats, monstrously huge boars, and spotted bears. The wood also has species of lemur called little Valerians because of their silver fur and purple eyes. I love the lemur, the little Valerian. He's great. He makes no sense because lemurs only exist in our world, well, now in zoos everywhere, but in Madagascar, because they evolved to take up the slot of monkeys, but there were no monkeys around on Madagascar at the time, right? So it's like convergent evolution, if you will, of like kind of taking up that spot of a primate when a lemur is not a monkey. So why would there be lemurs here when this isn't a tiny island broken apart and then other animals are evolving into? All right. Anyways, I putting a lemur in the middle of a forest is cute, but I'm like, wait, what? But that's like the biologist nerd in me. But yeah, so don't worry about it. We're trying not to think of it too much. I think of these forests as like Gaul for the Romans, right? Like this is up like later going to become like Germany, and then these are like Germanic tribes, I think, right? So it's going to work their way into that. And then a giant forest is really cool, but then it's like throw a lemur in there. I don't know. Maybe I'm way off. Maybe you guys think of it as interpret this as differently, right? But yeah. So where was I? The lemurs. Yeah. So, and also they're called little Valerians because they're silver with purple eyes, which is adorable. The forest provides the main source of Qohorik wealth. And then silver, tin, and amber are found in the forest, along with furs and pelts. According to the Citadel, the gloomy Forest of Qohor have never been fully mapped. So I will talk about the wealth that it provides them later. We're getting there. Trading. Maesters consider Qohor the most exotic of the free cities due to its status as the western terminus for overland trade networks stretching all the way to Yt, because it's like the westernmost trade that it's like the gateway to West Essos, if you will. Like the tongues of all free city, the Qohorik language is a form of bastard Valyrian. The dark arts such as divination, blood magic, and necromancy are believed to be practiced in the City of Sorcerers, though followers of R'hllor can also be found in Qohor, and the Qohorik mainly believe in the super sick dark god, super metal god, the Black Goat of Qohor, who I love, who demands a daily blood sacrifice. Sacrifices can be calves, bullocks, horses on regular days, but condemned criminals on holy days. And in times of crisis, nobles of the city are willing to sacrifice their own children in hopes that their god will defend the city. That's crazy. Occasionally, Qohor hires free companies and is one of the several free cities to offer gifts to the Dothraki cults so they don't sack them, right? Trading caravans bound for or returning from Vaes Dothrak provisions themselves in Qohor. In turn, overland merchant caravans from Yt head west over the Bone Mountains to Vaes Dothrak, where they can trade with merchants from the free cities. The overland trade routes are long and can be dangerous, but they are preferred by merchants who wish to avoid the exorbitant taxes of Qarth. The trade has helped make Qohor one of the richest of the free cities, thanks to its lumber trade as well. So, yeah, I think we're still going to talk about lumber. Yep. Qohor is famous for its hunters, foresters, and artisans. Artisans of Qohor are famed far and wide. Qohorik tapestries woven primarily by women and children of the city are as fine as any of the ones found in Mir, though less costly. Somewhat disturbing yet exquisite wood carvings can be found in the Qohorik markets. So is it just like big phallic carvings? Is that what it's like? Oh, those big wood carvings. Is it a naked? Is it just a big old phallic symbol, or is it like a naked chick? What's somewhat disturbing about it? Not that I find either of those things disturbing, but I don't know. Qohorik forges are considered to have no equal. The armor they create is seen superior to the armor made in Westeros. They can infuse a deep color into the metal with beautiful results. Additionally, the Qohorik are the only ones in the world who still possess the knowledge of how to rework Valyrian steel, a secret they have guarded strictly. According to Maester Pole, we'll talk about later, blood sacrifices are used when the Qohorik rework Valyrian steel. Don't worry, we'll talk about Maester Pole here in a minute. The initial settlement of Qohor was a large lumber cap along the Forest of Qohor. Qohor was colonized by followers of the Black Goat. The religious descendants abandoned Valyria, rejecting the religious tolerance practiced by the Valyrian freehold. So, if you don't get what I mean there, because normally when religious people leave a land, right, like in our own world, it's because they're looking for religious freedom and because the area that they're in is maybe primarily one other religion, right? But this isn't that. The Valyrian freehold was so full of all the other religions and everything was so freely practiced that it kind of took away the meaning of your religion, where it's like, oh, everything's practiced. Wait, but that doesn't make mine feel special. So we need a place where just ours is practiced. So that's why these guys then practicing this goat, headed up north to the land of the pines. Literally this time, that actually works. So yeah, the religious, they rejected the religious tolerance practiced by Valyrian freehold. You guys are just so tolerant. So strong stone walls, which I brought up earlier, protect Qohor, but the people of the city are merchants, not fighters, besides their very small city watch. Lumber is the main wealth even to this day. Cities and sprawling towns of Lower Rhoyne hunger for wood, and their forests dried up long ago. So huge lumber barges depart the docks every day for the long voyage to Dagger Lake and the markets of Selhoris, Vaesar, Valen, Theres, and Old Volantis. So yeah, so they just be selling some wood, man. They're just some lumberjacks. My grandpa was a lumberjack. In fact, pretty much everyone in my family until this generation were lumberjacks. And a lot of the people in this generation were too. I wasn't. But yeah, a lot of lumberjacks in my family. During the Century of Blood. So it's Century Blood and the 3000 of Qohor. The Century of Blood was a period of chaos in Essos, which lasted for approximately 1 century, believe it or not. It began following the destruction of the Valyrian freehold and the Doom of Valyria, which would take place in 102 BC, before the conquest. According to history, I did a short on this guy, but I still don't know. Urion, let's go with Urion, a dragon lord who had been visiting Qohor, proclaimed himself the first emperor of Valyria and raised forces from Qohorik colonists. So he raised a giant army in Qohor. On top of his dragon, he went with an army of 30,000 men, and they marched to claim Valyria's remains, and none of them were ever seen again. I love that story, and so I made a short about it. So it's like one last Valyrian with a dragon, other than the Targaryens, and he's like, all right, I'm the last one. I'm in charge. And he just like took 30,000 people. He's like, let's go and reclaim Valyria. And then they all died. Jeez, that's a lot of dead. All right, so at the start of the Century of Blood that followed the Doom, Cal Temo, after defeating Col Draco, killing him by chopping him up and burning him piece by piece, he rode from the east with his Dothraki Khalasar of 50,000. On the first day of the Dothraki So, on the first day, the Dothraki crushed a Qohorik heavy horse, and the sellswords of the city's service, sellswords in the city's service fled. What? Okay, sorry. Oh, sentences. So they crushed the Qohorik heavy horse, and the sellswords that were in the city's service fled. So this dude who we're talking about, Temo, retired to his camps for the night, planning to sack the city the following day. The next morning, he awoke to find 3,000 unsullied barring the way. The 3,000 unsullied were slave soldiers for Astapor. They withstood the Dothraki charges, however, and saved the city. Since the victory of the famed 3,000 of Qohor, the city's defenses have been mostly left to unsullied. Khal Temo was slain in the battle along with his sons and blood riders. His Khalasar suffered grievous losses and eventually chose to retreat. Yeah, don't mess with the 3,000 unsullied of Qohor, yo. Write that down. All right, alliance with Norvos. After the doom of Valyria, the Volantines consider themselves the heirs of the freehold and the rightful rulers of the world. Dang Volantis. They sent a fleet to claim the Valyrian Peninsula, but it vanished in the Smoking Sea. Yep, that'll happen. Towards the end of the Century of Blood, Qohor formed an alliance with Norvos. The Volantine fleet prepared to invade Lys, but Aegon Targaryen, Lord of Dragonstone, you guys know of him, accepted an alliance with Pentos and Tyrosh against the Volantis and flew to Lys and set ablaze a Volantine fleet. Volantis was further defeated at Dagger Lake. The fire galleys of Qohor and Norvos destroyed much of the Volantine fleet that controlled the Rhoyne. The Qohorik and Norvoshi, let's go with, are usually peaceful towards each other, although the bearded priests of Norvos consider the Black Goat to be demonic. I mean, you're not wrong. It's pretty demonic. I love it, though. Shortly after being created in 212 AC, the Golden Company sacked Qohor after the city refused to honor its contract that they made with the company. This event established a reputation of the sellsword company. So yeah, the Golden Company, you never break a contract with them. They never break a contract. Qohor broke a contract, so they sacked them themselves. That's crazy. So yeah, and then Tobo Mott in King's Landing learned to smith in Qohor and is one of the few who know how to rework Valyrian steel. The maester named Pol, who I talked about earlier, spent many years in Qohor investigating the secrets of the Qohorik blacksmith. He was thrice publicly whipped and exiled for making too many inquiries. He was trying to figure out how they rework Valyrian steel, and they just started whipping him. The final time his hand was chopped off, oh my God, per the allegation that he had stolen a Valyrian steel blade. According to him, the true reason for his exile was the discovery of blood sacrifices, including that of infant slaves. That's rough, yeesh. Which Qohorik smiths used in their efforts to produce steel equal to Valyrian steel. Oh, all right. Well, Paul, you kept poking where you shouldn't have been poking and got your hand cut off. So yeah, be careful. During the time of the books, it's my last slide. Don't worry. Brown Ben Plum claims to be part Qohorik, although through his grandmother. All right, so there's a little thing we know about Brown Ben Plum. As a slave, Strong Belwas was sold from Meereen to Qohor before being sold to Pentos. During their exile, Viserys and Daenerys Targaryen spent some time in Qohor when they were wandering from place to place. Qohor is visited every 3 or 4 years by Khal Zeko. The Qohor give him gifts, and he moves his Dothraki Khalasar on. Now, during the books, Viserys and Daenerys pass through Qohor again during their journey of Khal Drogo's Khalasar from Pentos to Vaes Dothrak. So yeah, so they visited once as a kid, and then they visited it part of Khal Drogo's Khalasar. That's kind of cool. The Brave Companions. Oh no, here we go. A sellsword company, also known as the Bloody Mummers, are led by a Qohorik Vargo Hoat. Following the Battle of the Camps, Lord Tywin Lannister orders that they get sent out to burn the Riverlands along with Amory Lore, who I just talked about last week, and Gregor Clegane. Vargo changes sides during this conflict, supporting Robb Stark instead, and aids Roose Bolton against the Lannisters in the fall of Harrenhal. Fearing retribution if Roose defects to the side of House Lannister, Vargo gives the order to Zolo to maim Jaime Lannister by cutting off his sword hand. Crazy, hoping to break the possibility of an alliance between Roose and Tywin Lannister. In the aftermath of the Red Wedding, Sir Gregor Clegane captures Harrenhal from the few remaining brave companions, and Vargo Hoat is killed rather horrifically, I'm leaving it out, by Gregor Clegane. And then last but not least, Garen tells Arianne Martell that according to sailors in Plankytown, followers of R'hllor rioted in Qohor and tried to burn down the Black Goat. Crazy. What are you guys R'hllor followers doing, trying to burn down the Black Goat? There you guys go. What'd you think of Qohor? Again, we get no real look into the city because no POV character, well, Danny did, but spent enough time there where we actually get a really good look at like the agriculture, architecture, and stuff like that. But lots of history. So we got history in like economy with it. So that was fun. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Click like, subscribe, share this. And yeah, that was my first time going over the Essos with a locations video. So yeah, go ahead and share this video to people who love A Song of Ice and Fire and have not seen my stuff yet. And yeah, I got a bunch. I got a bunch of locations and a bunch of other videos. So yeah, peace.